This video is presented by Fiberglass. Hey everyone, welcome to the Electric Supercar channel. This is Wattson, and we're taking it to SEMA. So this one took me about 3 years to build, and there's one thing I always wanted to do. So it is an amazing looking car, but I always felt like it could really use a rear diffuser. So this episode, we're gonna make a carbon fiber rear diffuser using 3D printing. Let's get to it. For today's sponsor, we have a standing desk from Fezzibo. All right, they've got some good instructions here for assembly, and they've got kind of the bags and things all laid out. So we're gonna go ahead and time this one and see how quickly we can put it together. Some of my first impressions, it's really nice quality. I love the glass top. It's got really strong, sturdy steel construction. It does have up to 4 memory presets. It also has a child lock. Always so satisfying. So 12 minutes, that's super quick. So it is right at 70 centimeters. All right, so this is as low as it goes, kind of thigh high. 112, it's kind of like chest high. It's actually a really nice height. So we'll just confirm here real quick. 110, 11, 12, yep. So this is great. So one of the things I tend to do with my tables is I pull out paper and I tend to just draw on them, write little reminders, things like that. Because where you're working is where you want to keep your notes. So that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to get this table is it's got a glass top, which is perfect for notes. So the table has 3 programmable settings for different heights. So, you know, standing or sitting or maybe for different users. You can also manually adjust it here. It also has charging for a standard USB as well as a USB-C. But you know what? If white or glass is not the option for you, they have over 2,000 combinations you can pick from wood and everything else. It allows for storage and organization. It's got a slide out drawer that's very solid construction. It does allow for health benefits as you can adjust it to your exact desired height to avoid from kind of slouching or neck or shoulder pain from poor posture. Compared to normal desks, this combines aesthetics, ergonomics, and functionality, which makes it a worthy investment. So if you're in the market for a new desk, especially a standing desk, I'll leave a link in the video description below. To begin with, I got with my friend Ian at IJ Design Studios, and he made up a rendering of what a rear diffuser might look like. Man, I was sold. I thought it looked great. So from that point, we got CAD and sliced it up in a slicer and started 3D printing. And because I got a cool camera, here's the time lapse. The overall plan for this one is to laminate or put the carbon fiber on top of the 3D printed part. That is not typically how you would do it. Typically you'd make up a mold and then put the carbon fiber into the mold and then have that be the final part. And essentially any of the internal space would just be air. What we're doing here is we've got a little bit of a compressed schedule. Instead of just air, we've got a thin layer of plastic around the outside, but still a lot of air in the middle. However, it will have all the same structure and stiffness as the carbon fiber. So again, we're only relying on the external carbon fiber for the structure, not the internal 3D printed part. It always takes me a minute to get my bearings, but this is what we've got to work with. So again, these all have holes and dowel pins, so we'll go ahead and get started. All right, here it is. I think it looks really good. I think we're getting better and better at this. However, before we apply any carbon fiber, we gotta like clean up all the edges and spots where the little heat staples were. So we have to do that either way. So we'll go ahead and break out some body filler and get to making this look better. So I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Bodywork.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
The hate part is it just takes so long and it's so hard for me not to be just like perfection. I do love the result, but man, it just takes so long. So gotta get in the groove. I think that's still gonna mix in just fine. All right, this is just after one quick skim coat. The goal here is I'm not looking for like smooth, I'm just looking for like any cracks or things. When I lay the carbon fiber down, it's not gonna give ripples or distortions. So really just trying to blend any of these seams, make sure that if there's any misprints, little high spots or low spots, so we get those evened out as well. So we're pretty close here. I'm gonna go through it one more time, just mainly over the seams. All right, I've got the underside kind of all I think how I want it, and that's really gonna be the side that shows. The car is actually gonna be kind of on top of this, so I don't need to do this side as well. With that being said, I feel like I've gotta just do at least one coat, try and fill in all the gaps. So I'll do that real quick, and then we'll get to laying up the carbon fiber. So we backed Wattson out. This is the part, so we're just gonna cut that part of the diffuser out, and the new one should fit underneath that, but it needs to go in there. A little bit scary, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start cutting. All right, so under the car, there's like 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I gotta take those 4 bolts out. I gotta somehow figure out where those bolts are on that piece, so we can kind of make sure that we can fasten it using those same threaded holes. But essentially, I need to cut right around this guy. Yeah, a little bit scary. I think worst case, if things don't work out, don't fit, I can just put this piece exactly back. Maybe just put a little black trim in between, hide the cut line. But yeah, it's time to start cutting. That is the under panel we just took off. I really don't recall so much Swiss cheese going on. And there is the back. So we'll clean this up, make sure that the new diffuser fits well before we start the carbon fiber process. We may need to do a couple little tweaks, but let's check it out. All right, you're not gonna get a great look because I'll be in the way, but kind of show you what this looks like. So I'm gonna say pretty close to that. I'm discovering a problem. We've got ground clearance issues. There's kind of 2 problems. One is one of the little fins is like too close to the wheel, and the other one is it's just too low. I mean, the car is already super low. Like, I can't run over my fist. So whatever that is, like 3 or 4 inches. And the other one was like 2 inches, like so close. So gotta make some changes on the fly. Wouldn't be SEMA without some of these last minute changes. So wish me luck. Let's see what we can do. All right, so here's the plan, and here's what I was talking about. So if we looked at this from the side, this point here, because it's kind of rocked up like this, that point right here is like 2 inches from the ground. So it needs to be moved up. And looking at the overall kind of design here, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it like right there and right there, and like have that whole section just kind of lift up a little bit, probably minimize this as well. But I don't see a lot of other options that are gonna get me there quickly, because printing a whole new diffuser is just gonna take too long. Essentially, right here, I've got a lot of extra room. So I'm gonna try and slice it out of here. I'll probably even do it like a triangle. So meaning it'll be like sliced here, but as it gets to the back, it'll actually be almost nothing. That way I can bring it up. I think the other thing is if I slice that off, I can also bring this up and bring that up. So we're gonna start there. This isn't gonna be pretty, but we gotta do it. All right, so we've taken out this chunk, which is, I think, exactly what we wanted to do. So again, there's like, well, maybe 3 fingers that this can now get flexed down. I'm also probably gonna, besides just taking up that room to kind of bring it vertically down, I'll probably also bring this one down that way, because this rib right here is the one that's like the closest to the ground. So I think what I'll do is I might secure it with kind of 1 or 2 heat stakes, but I'm gonna see if I can kind of put it on the car, make sure we like what it's looking like. Yeah, so I think I just need to cut that one off. I think that's about how we want it. All right, I've got it jacked in place here. And you can see like the original design was to have like a little bit of airflow between the bottom panel and here, right? So this one's flexing down just a little bit. That's how it was supposed to be. Let me show you on the other side where we've tweaked it. So again, that one's gonna fit a lot closer. And then you can see the bottom of the car, it kind of actually looks like it lines up pretty well. And so I think what I'll do is I'll try and get some heat stakes and get that kind of set in place. So with those two things though, I think we'll be back in business. All right, we've got it joined back together and got filler on so it's nice and smooth. This one over here, again, we kind of shortened it quite a bit. So I think this is all smooth. We'll flip it over. I think the other side's pretty good too, but that's this side. We still need to do the other side. All right, so I think this is looking better. And so this one hugs a lot closer. We've got better ground clearance, meaning probably leave it for now. But yeah, you can kind of see the difference between where I've done it and where I haven't. So again, it's just down so far. I already chopped off that support there, but man, it's like so close to the ground. So we'll do the same thing for this other side, get some carbon fiber on it. All right, here it is. Probably need another jack to make sure that these are all up in place. So that's probably just a little bit lower. And the next step is just kind of go over it one more time, make sure it's all smooth, and then start laying up the carbon fiber. This is kind of the bottom layer, the bottom weave. So this one is a non-stabilized, so it can kind of flow and match things pretty evenly. My plan is to have it wrap around just a little bit on the lip. I used some of the spray adhesive, infusion adhesive. The infusion adhesive is good just to kind of make sure things stay in place. So I've got things all in place. I'm gonna try the stabilized. The reason why you do the stabilized is because then the weave looks just great. Challenges for things like this where you're gonna have some of these compound curves. I don't know if it'll work, but we're gonna give it a try. This is the stabilized carbon fiber, and you can see it just does not conform. You see, it's like anytime you kind of have compound curves, doesn't handle that very well. So we'll go ahead and stick with just the traditional carbon fiber that kind of has a little more play. And so here's the plan. This is the first layer. We're gonna go ahead and laminate this one and then do another layer, probably 3 layers on top. We are doing this outside, but put this on either way. All right, just laid up a couple layers of the carbon fiber. We're gonna go ahead and let this cure. I had it come off the edges a little bit so when it hardens we can trim it up and then flip it over and do the other side. I'm gonna call this the car layer, meaning this side is the one that's gonna be facing the car, so nobody can really see it, but wheeled it out in the sun, help it cure a little faster. All right, I brought this inside. I think the sun kind of helps heat it up and cure it quicker. Just to recap, I'll call it the car side. Again, the side that's facing the car, I just kind of don't care very much at all about what it looks like. The other side though, I do. So I intentionally wrapped it around because I want this bottom side to also wrap around. So that's gonna be, I'll call it like a joint. So what I'm gonna do on this other side, I'm gonna flip it over, but I'm actually gonna make some patterns. That way I can get things to lay a little bit better and be a little more methodical. This other one, I was able to kind of just drape it across. It's a pretty simple shape and just kind of cut around it. This other side's gonna take a lot more time and effort. So I've got things mostly cleaned up. I'm leaving this one a little bit long. I'm actually on the carbon fiber, joined to this carbon fiber, and then I'll kind of trim it up nice. But I thought I'd leave it just a little bit long. And on this side, I intentionally wrapped it over, but I've kind of sanded it off. I'm gonna have this one come over as well. So we're looking pretty good. So my goal is here, I'm going to get some tape and kind of put tape everywhere, and then I'm gonna cut so I can get some patterns for the carbon fiber. All right, so I've got these tape templates. I'm gonna just go ahead and trace them or stick them onto some paper. We'll just get some better templates traced out. I've got the direction, I'll call it the tape is the direction I want the fibers to go. So we'll go ahead and start making up some templates and cutting out carbon fiber. So I've cut some of the carbon fiber patterns out, and one of the things I did is these are, I'll call it sharp, meaning you got 2 points that come up pretty sharp, and it's gonna be really tough to kind of drape it over or get it to one to stop and the other one to start. So what I did is I created some 3D printed parts that kind of match the ridge line. So I'm just gonna have 2 pieces come up and just clamp them together. So that way they'll come up to kind of a point. So either side will come up to a point. They'll just be clamped together and have a nice bond between the two. So we hope this works well. All right, I've got all my pieces kind of laid out where they need to go. I'm gonna start mixing up some epoxy and hopefully everything goes well. And this is gonna be a lot of work in a short amount of time. So I don't know that I'm gonna be able to do a lot of camera work, but we'll set it up and let you watch it. All right, couple hours in the making, but I think we've got it all situated pretty good. Each one of these are like a, I'll call it like a mohawk, but yeah, I think they'll work pretty good, but time will tell. We'll have to wait for this to set up and then we'll take them off and trim things up. Let this set up overnight. So I'm gonna go ahead and take off the clamps and trim things up. All right, here is the rough trim. Probably go over it one more time, but I think it looks pretty good. Considering this is gonna be like underneath the car, probably won't spend too much time. Do wanna make sure it looks somewhat good. There's probably just a few places that I wanna touch up, but then I'll put a coat of clear coat on it. I'm actually also wondering maybe about doing like a little yellow stripe, kind of just highlight. We'll see if I get around to that, but why don't we go put it in place, see what it looks like. So again, I like that it's like roughly the same line. Yeah, it's up a little bit, but that's quite all right. And just in general, I feel like it completes the back, just because it was always weird that this came here and then this like started up that much taller. I think I really like that. So we're like halfway in the shadow. So this one, I just need another jack to kind of help it stay up. But first I'm gonna trim this up, make it exactly how I want it, get it ready for a clear coat. this one is just about ready for some clear coat. I've been kind of just doing a little sanding, but one of the things I wanted to look at is, I'll call it something like a pinstripe. It'll be thicker than a pinstripe, but just like a little yellow band kind of around some of the lines. So I've got just some electrical tape. I'm gonna try to see if that is something that looks like a good idea. I'll just trace it out how I think I want it, and if it doesn't look very good, we'll just go for clear coat and no color. I don't know, in my head I thought I was gonna like it a lot more. Maybe it's because it's tape and not paint. I don't know, kind of almost leaning against it now. I thought I was really gonna like it. Maybe I'll have to put it on the car and see if it does anything then. All right, here it is with a thinner line. Yeah, I'm just thinking no. All right, here it is roughly in place. I think it's looking pretty good. Still, I'm kind of on the fence about the yellow stripe, the yellow line. Kind of like it, I just worry that I wouldn't be able to pull it off well because the surface might be a little uneven. That means the line would be a little uneven. So I think it'd just be really tough to pull it off, but I don't know. I'll see if it grows on me a little bit. So for right now, I just need to mark places that I want to do fasteners. So my plan is to do probably one out here on the very edge, kind of pull that wing up just a little bit. So 4 or 5 across the center section. The thought is probably just do holes with washers here and then rib nuts in that. So I'll probably drill some holes. The only other thing is there's already holes that are tapped in this frame. So I just have to kind of figure out where they are relative to the new carbon fiber piece. Put holes in the carbon fiber piece. All right, when this was in place in the vehicle, I put this tape on that was just right up against the rail that's holding the motor. And so I put the tape on, and then I put tape on that rail and then kind of poked holes where the mounting holes were. This should give us an exact location of those holes, so I'll go ahead and drill those out. One other thing I'm noticing though, so I thought I had this dialed in, meaning like you'll see like that this is not lower than this. However, this is not the angle it sits at, and it sits kind of more like that. And so you see like it's couple inches lower. So I might have to readdress this part and bring it up even more. I also drilled holes in the car itself, in the back part, and I don't know if you can tell, but I got some green dots where we're gonna put kind of the rib nuts. So go ahead and do that. So the holes on the diffuser don't line up. When I say the ones that we did on the top line up, the ones we did on the bottom with the tape do not. And that's my fault. So I stuck the tape like this on the part, poked the holes, and then I flipped it. Even though I put back, I inverted it. So all the holes don't quite line up. So I'm gonna do it one more time. Hopefully we'll get it right. All right, so I've got the tape again on the carbon fiber piece. I've also got tape in between this frame rail. And last time I had it so the sticky side was up. When I transferred it, I essentially inverted it that way so the holes don't line up. So this time I've got sticky side down. So we'll go ahead and poke holes again, and we'll need to drill new holes. All right, so this is now attached. I can put my weight on it and the whole car goes down. So point there, and one over there. And then underneath, got one there, and then over there. I can't quite get it. So it is all fastened. I think it's about ready for some clear coat. There's just one problem. So ground clearance is just still way too low. If I fasten it here, it'll lift it up a little bit, but not near enough. So I mean, that's like, I'll call it like 2 fingers. I need to get, the rest of the car is more like a fist, you know, four fingers. So I gotta do something to get that up. All right, so here's what we're dealing with. Before I had the level of the diffuser kind of down and like all the fins were kind of the same level. But when it's on the car, it's actually up like this. And these ones, they're just like, you know, so close to the ground, 2 inches off the ground. So unfortunately, what that means is we need to readdress this again. So likely I'll pick a spot, chop away, and figure out how to raise it up and do some more carbon fiber. All right, got these ones cut so that we can basically maneuver them where they need to be. My thought is this is kind of a level that we know is safe, and so this one kind of went and dropped down, and so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it back up because that way I know it's safe, and I'll also check the bottom, make sure all the ribs are high enough. So we'll figure that out real quick and start the process. All right, we got the one side laid up. This is now the underside. So the top side, most of it we don't care about. We care about like the very front where people are gonna see. Now this side, you can see we got like a seam here. So we're just gonna do a couple new layers, just kind of create that radius on both sides here. All right, just did another wet layup. And again, I think the shape looks good. We've got a lot of overlap, so we should be very good. Again, did 3 layers of the carbon fiber. So I think we should have a very robust joint. We've got bottom and top. So we'll let this set up. We'll need to definitely do some trimming and sanding. And hopefully we can get this thing clear coated and on the car. We are close, but we do need to make one more change. So we've got all the holes and fasteners and everything lined up. I was worried that these might be brought up too much, but they're not. They actually tuck in very nicely with the car. The problem is not underneath. Again, we got enough for a fist. The problem is, so right here, this is a little close to the tire, and then actually it goes back further and actually contacts the tire. So we need to like cut this one off quite a bit on both sides. All right, I'm probably just gonna put one more piece of the carbon fiber right on top here, the most visible. I'll try and make it look nice and pretty, uniform. This will be the part that most people see. All right, I did 3 quick coats on this side. starting to get a little dark, but we put the final coats on to let things cure up. Hopefully we don't need to do a lot of polishing, but yeah, I think it's looking good. All right, after several hours, took it out. Again, this part's gonna be against the car, so you can't see it. Wasn't quite as careful with my layup on this side, but I did put a nice piece right here on the lip because you will be able to see that one kind of from the top. I made sure that these ones look good. Yeah, so it's looking really glossy and nice right now. We'll wait overnight, maybe even a day or two. Actually, I can't wait 2 days because I gotta load it up on the trailer. Yeah, it's looking good, so we'll give it overnight and then we'll mount it up. I think that actually looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty close to the rendering. Probably put some weather stripping kind of around there, just kind of make everything fit nice. All right, we're gonna do a couple last things to finish up. So I've got some weather stripping that I'm gonna put kind of along there. The other thing is I haven't, but I need to do some mounting points just on the very edges. The other thing is I've got 3 mounting points on top and then like one there and one there. Apparently those 2 on the sides I laminated over, so I just need to drill those out and I think that's got it. All right, there's always more that you can do, but I think that's where I'm gonna leave it for now. Just got the weather stripping there. That'll help it, you know, if there's any bumps and things aren't quite perfect, that it won't rattle or rub. So that's good. We've got additional fasten points on the edges. We've got 4 or 5 here and then 4 underneath. So I think we should be good there. You may also notice I got myself a new license plate. That is not real, but gonna present it that way at SEMA. So preparing for SEMA, even going to SEMA, is probably not the best decision for me financially, because that essentially means I'm not working for like 2-3 weeks. It's gonna be a tight month. What you can do to help though is please just leave a like, leave a good comment. That helps a long way. If you want to support even more, go to the Patreon account, sign up there. The folks there have known about this for quite some time, so I like to leave early content for them. Those are just a few things you can do to help. Because I am a struggling creator, emphasize the struggling part. The YouTube videos, they maybe give me like $100, so not a ton, but every little bit helps. All right, we did it. It was kind of a close call. We had to make a lot of adjustments, but I think this is worth it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. That'll do it for this time. See you next time.